Doesn't it feel like forever since we saw the Dutton family in action? The wait is finally coming to an end. After what feels like an eternity since Yellowstone Season 5 Part 1 came out on January 1st, 2023, the Duttons are primed to return to our screens in November with Part 2. And we promise you, it's gonna be worth the wait. The big sneak peek. To sweeten the deal even more, the cast and crew released a behind-the-scenes featurette just to give us a taste of what's to come. You can tell the whole team is getting excited because they've been saying how long they've been on break between the parts, and they're beyond ready to get back to work and make these episodes a reality. It got Luke Grimes, who plays Casey Dutton, really emotional. It even brought him to tears, he said. According to Luke, this next chapter is really going to throw you in the feels, and fans are going to love it. We're going to have some serious drama, action, and probably a ton of tears. However, the real big elephant in the room is Kevin Costner's departure. Yep, it's official. Coming ahead of Season 5 Part 2, Kevin Costner, the legend who plays John Dutton, will not be returning. When this news fell back in June after a long and messy fight with Paramount and the show's creator, Taylor Sheridan, it hit hard. What's going to happen now then? One of the key elements of the series has been Costner's John Dutton, the guy around whom almost everybody's story revolves. It's no small feat trying to carry on the story without him. It's going to be a huge shift, and fans have already speculated how the show might manage to do it. The cast has been pretty tight-lipped about how things will go down, which has only fueled the hype. Christina Voros, one of the directors, shared that it's been a mix of emotions, like a big family reunion, but with the challenge of continuing the story in a whole new way. And get this, the secrecy has been next level. The actors have only been given redacted scripts, meaning they only see their own lines, with everything else blacked out. So even they don't know the full picture. Denham Richards, who plays Colby, said the result is raw, real reactions from the cast. So whatever happens, it's going to feel incredibly authentic. What does the cast look like? Besides Luke Grimes, the usual suspects are all back. Kelly Riley as the fierce Beth Dutton, Cole Hauser as the tough as nails Rip Wheeler, Wes Bentley as the complicated Jamie Dutton, Kelsey Asby as Monica, and Gil Birmingham as Chief Thomas Rainwater. Even though Kevin Costner is out, there's no shortage of powerhouse performances coming our way. Kelly Riley in particular seems super pumped about the new episodes. She's been sharing updates on Instagram, posting little sneak peeks from the iconic Yellowstone ranch. While she hasn't spilt any major spoilers, you can just feel the excitement in her posts. She's clearly grateful for the experience and can't wait for fans to see what's been in the works. Throwback to the teaser. On August 25th, Paramount Network gave us a first look at Season 5 Part 2, and everybody knew it would get intense. It was clear that on November 10th, 2024, things were about to explode on Dutton Ranch. In this new teaser, it seemed like Rip was gearing up for some serious action. He was loading his rifle and storming into the main house like he just found out something huge. If you remember the drama from before, it's hard not to wonder if this is tied to Jamie and the terrible truth about Beth's infertility. The tagline, "Generations of blood have led to this," says it all. We're talking 5.5 seasons of tension, betrayal, and all kinds of family drama, especially between Jamie, the Dutton family's black sheep, and his fiery sister Beth. Oh, and their father John, who has constantly undermined Jamie. But let's be honest, Jamie does a pretty good job of sabotaging himself most of the time too. Remember how Season 5 Part 1 ended? Beth and John had decided it was high time for Jamie to take that one-way trip to the train station. Meanwhile, Jamie and his partner Sarah were busy plotting an accident for their enemies, one that would leave to no chance for recovery. With Kevin Costner stepping away from the series, we can only speculate about John's fate when Part 2 kicks off. Could John already be gone by the time the new episodes air, and if so, who else might be meeting their end in this final stretch? What can we expect from Season 5 Part 2? So, what can we expect when Yellowstone finally returns? Well, one thing's for sure. John Dutton's absence is going to shake things up in a massive way. At the end of Part 1, we were left with the ultimate setup for a showdown between Beth and Jamie. The tension between those two has been simmering for years, and it's about to boil over in the biggest way possible. If John were still around, he might have been able to step in and stop the carnage. But now, with him gone, there's nothing holding Beth and Jamie back. It's pretty much open season. Casey's likely not going to be able to do much to stop them either. It's every Dutton for themselves at this point. But before all that goes down, we need to know what happened to John. As the patriarch of the family, he's been fiercely protective of the ranch, refusing to sell even when the financial pressure was intense. He always said it was because of a promise he made to his father. So, what's the deal? How is the show going to explain his absence? The most plausible theory is that he dies, but that's still speculation at this point. Either way, John's fate is something the show has to address right away. Production for these final episodes seems to be moving along at full speed though. With the release date fast approaching, we could be getting an official first look at the new season soon. But will it include any footage of Costner's John? That's still up in the air. One thing's for sure though, if Kelly Riley is this excited, fans should be too. Now let's dive into what's going on with Beth. Beth has been through the ringer over the past 5 seasons. She's faced emotional and physical trauma, and yet she's remained fiercely loyal to her family, especially to her father. In a lot of ways, she's more like John than her brothers are. And with John potentially out of the picture, she's stepping into the biggest fight of her life. Her conflict with Jamie has been building for so long, and with the stakes higher than ever, it's hard to see any kind of peaceful resolution between them. If John does die, it's going to push Beth to the edge. Jamie will be a rival, perhaps even the man who killed their father, and she'll be looking at him. If that happens, all bets are off. But Beth is also making her own family with Rip and their adoptive son Carter. Now she's got more to protect, and she's only more dangerous. Jamie is in her crosshairs, and the final episodes will be explosive. Anyone who threatens her family is going to feel her wrath. But what of Yellowstone's future when the flagship show comes to an end? Will the show wrap things up in a way that its diehard fans would like, or leave everyone on the edge of their seats wanting more? No one knows, but a new spin-off has already gotten buzz. A spin-off series has been talked about called The Madison. We've got Michelle Pfeiffer, Matthew Fox from Lost, and Suits star Patrick J. Adams in the cast. So it looks stellar. Despite this, we still have no word yet if some of our Yellowstone favorites like Kelly Riley, Luke Grimes, or Cole Hauser might show up in this new series. A recap of Season 5 Part 1. Since it's been a while since we last visited the Duttons, let's refresh our memories on some of the key moments from those first 8 episodes. One of the most significant developments in Part 1 was John Dutton becoming the governor of Montana. But guess what? He hated it. Throughout the entire series, John has been fighting the government interference, and now that he's in charge, he finds himself battling against the same political system he despises. He ran for office to protect Montana's land from wealthy outsiders trying to turn it into a tourist playground. His win, which happened at the start of Season 5, aligned him temporarily with his longtime rival, Thomas Rainwater, the leader of the local Native American reservation. John's predecessor, Linnell Perry, was promoted to senator. Around the same time, the U.S. president was trying to push through a project to install 2 natural gas pipelines under the state, which could have contaminated the reservation's drinking water. John's role as governor caused a bit of chaos since he refused to follow the typical government playbook and insisted on doing things his own way. He staffed his administration with his people, didn't care for bureaucracy, and generally made things difficult for those around him, all while staying laser-focused on protecting his family's land. John also managed to get his former fling, Summer Higgins, out of prison. She's an environmental activist who was serving time, but John pulled some strings to get her released and placed her under house arrest at his ranch. Of course, this set up some serious drama with Beth. The tension between Summer and Beth simmered throughout the season, coming to a head in a full-blown fight near the end. The men just let them duke it out, and weirdly enough, the 2 women walked away from the brawl with a newfound respect for one another. Beth and Rip, the show's power couple, were in their own version of marital bliss in Season 5. They tied the knot in Season 4, and in the new season, they settled into life together. Rip still doesn't know the full story about why Beth can't have children, but he does know she's unable to. They've taken in a teen runaway, Carter, as their surrogate son, even though Rip was initially against the idea. Over time, Carter grew on him and they formed a tight little family unit. Meanwhile, Casey and Monica continued to grow as a family, though they kept a healthy distance from the ranch. Casey is still working as a livestock officer, and the couple is raising their son Tate away from the family drama. Unfortunately, tragedy struck the young family again. Monica, who was pregnant, and Tate were in a car accident that resulted in Monica losing the baby. John, ever the family man, helped Monica through her grief by sharing his own experiences with loss, drawing on the pain of losing his baby brother years ago. In typical Beth fashion, she pulled off a brilliant move to block Market Equities, a powerful company trying to take over 28,000 acres of land in Montana. She orchestrated the sale of her controlling interest in the Schwartz & Meyer Fund, but only under the condition that the real estate would remain under her control. This placed the land in a conservation easement, effectively stopping Market Equities from doing anything with it. After the deal went through, Beth celebrated with a bar fight, where she got arrested for defending Rip's honor. Someone thought it was a good idea to flirt with him in front of her, which was a big mistake. Meanwhile, Jamie unknowingly got involved with Sarah Atwood, a high-powered lawyer from Market Equities who was sent to bring down the Duttons. Sarah played Jamie like a fiddle, getting close to him and convincing him that they were on the same side. The two quickly became partners in more ways than one, and by the end of the season, Sarah had become Jamie's closest ally in his quest to take down his family. Beth had been controlling Jamie for most of the season, using the fact that he killed his biological father, Garrett Randall, as leverage. This gave her the upper hand, but things took a dark turn when Jamie decided he was done being manipulated. He launched an impeachment inquiry against John, accusing him of using his office as governor to block the construction of an airport that would have benefited the state. Jamie's move set the stage for a full-blown war within the Dutton family. The drama behind the scenes. Early in 2024, John Dutton himself, Kevin Costner, finally spoke out, and it shed a whole lot of light on the behind-the-scenes chaos that had been brewing. After fans had been waiting forever for the second half of Season 5 to air, it was confirmed in May 2023 that Season 5 would be the show's swan song. But why all the delays and sudden changes? Well, as it turned out, a lot of it revolved around scheduling issues with Kevin Costner, who's now leaving the show. The real kicker? Taylor Sheridan, the creator of Yellowstone, wasn't thrilled when Costner made his exit official. Sheridan didn't hold back, saying he was disappointed about how things went down. He even hinted that Costner's upcoming film project, Horizon: An American Saga, might be to blame, saying he hopes it's worth the shift in focus. But Costner couldn't leave without setting the record straight, and he had some things to say. In an interview with Deadline, Costner talks about what he claims went wrong with the Yellowstone production schedule. According to him, he initially signed a contract to film 7 seasons of the show. But somewhere along the way, the plan got renegotiated to include only Seasons 5A and 5B. And that's when things started getting messy. Costner said the production wasn't ready when filming was supposed to kick off for those seasons. "We were starting in April and May, and we'd usually go through August," he explained. "We didn't even get 10 episodes done." The root of the issue? According to Costner, there simply weren't enough scripts. Yep, you heard that right. He said he left his movie project to be on time for Yellowstone, only to discover that the team didn't have what they needed to get the job done. They needed 4 more days just to complete the first 8 episodes, Costner said. He felt bad that the fans didn't get the full 10 episodes they were expecting, especially since he had adjusted his schedule to meet their demands. Costner also shut down those wild rumors that he was only willing to film for a week. He explained that there weren't any scripts at the time, and he offered what he could. "If you want to end this elegantly, the best I can do is give you a week," he recalled saying. But somehow that got twisted, and rumors flew that Costner only wanted to work for 1 week out of the entire season. He made it clear that was far from the truth. So what was the real issue? According to Costner, it was all about how Paramount and 101 Studios handled the situation. He said they had him signed for Seasons 5, 6, and 7, and he was ready to go, but they kept changing things up. Despite all the drama, Costner still left the door open for a return, saying he'd come back if the writing is there. Hearing from a co-star, Kelly Riley, who plays the iconic Beth Dutton, has a different perspective on the Costner drama. Apparently, this has been part of the plan all along. According to her, creator Taylor Sheridan has always intended for John Dutton to be missing in action in the last stretch of Yellowstone's story. For almost the entire duration of the show, John Dutton, played by Costner, fiercely protects his massive Montana ranch from all sorts of external threats. Whether it's greedy land developers or power-hungry politicians, John's battles have kept fans glued to their screens. But Season 5 Part 2 is now set to bring all this drama to a close, and the road to this final chapter hasn't been smooth. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Riley explained that John's absence wasn't something the production team had to scramble to accommodate because of Costner's departure. Instead, it was always part of Sheridan's grand vision for the show's conclusion. She didn't give away too many details on exactly how this absence was meant to play out, but she did mention that Sheridan shared this plan with her way back in Season 1. Riley's comment makes it clear. The absence was part of the ending. That's not something that we had to pivot. That was already written into the tapestry of the story. It was always going to happen, it just happened a little bit differently. So what does Sheridan's plan mean for Season 5 Part 2? Sheridan is no stranger to keeping us on the edge of our seats, and it seems like he's been carefully crafting the final moments of Yellowstone from the start. The fact that John Dutton's absence was always part of the plan is a pretty big deal. Sheridan has been at the helm of Yellowstone since day one, and under his creative direction, the show has skyrocketed in popularity. If he always envisioned John bowing out before the series wrapped up, there's hope that this final chapter will still deliver the gut-punching, emotional ending fans have been waiting for. Now, while the news that John's absence is intentional might be a relief, it does raise a few questions. Riley didn't dive into exactly how or when Sheridan planned for John to leave the story. Most fans probably expected John to die toward the end of the series. Let's be real, he's had plenty of close calls and enemies gunning for him. But it's pretty likely Sheridan originally envisioned a much more dramatic and emotional exit for John than what we're now getting. Let's face it, if John's character doesn't get a proper send-off, it could be a bit of a letdown for fans who have followed his journey through 5 intense seasons. Think about it. John Dutton has been the central character of Yellowstone since the beginning. He's been the driving force behind the show's biggest conflicts, and his relationship with his children, particularly Beth and Jamie, has fueled some of the series' most memorable moments. Even though we knew he might not make it to the very end, the idea that his story could conclude off-screen or without the gravitas it deserves is a little disappointing. After all, this man has been at the heart of Yellowstone's success. But what about the rest of the Dutton family? While it's sad to think that John might not get the grand exit we all hoped for, Sheridan's plan for the show still offers some exciting possibilities. With John out of the picture, the spotlight will likely shift even more onto the remaining Duttons: Beth, Rip, Jamie, and Casey. And let's be honest, those characters have plenty of unresolved storylines that could give the series the powerful ending it deserves. Beth and Rip are the ultimate Yellowstone power couple, and their relationship has been a central part of the show's emotional core. Watching how they navigate the family's future without John and potentially taking over the reins of the ranch could lead to some epic moments. And let's not forget Jamie, who has been teetering on the edge of a major confrontation with the rest of the family for a while now. With John gone, Jamie might finally get the chance to make his move, though that could also spell his downfall. Casey is another character to keep an eye on. He's always been the reluctant heir to the Dutton legacy, but with John's exit, he may be forced to step up in ways we haven't seen before. His strained relationship with the family and his desire to protect his own family might clash in big ways, leading to some tough choices and high-stakes drama. The big spoiler! Fans are burning up with anticipation to see if the Duttons can keep their precious Montana ranch, but it seems that Sheridan may have accidentally let loose a big spoiler about the show's end. The word on the street is that there's already a potential 6th season that will focus on Beth Dutton and Rip Wheeler. If this rumor turns out to be true, it could mean we already know the fate of one of the series' most controversial characters, Jamie Dutton. Spoiler alert, it doesn't look good for him. Of course, if you've been following along, you'd know that Season 5 Part 1 of Yellowstone ended with a big fight on the horizon between Jamie and his sister Beth. Of course, the two have a complicated and toxic relationship, and things took a whole new turn when Jamie decided to go forward with impeaching their father, John Dutton. With Kevin Costner out of the picture, the teaser for the second half of the season promises us an epic sibling rivalry. However, things get interesting here because Sheridan may have accidentally spoiled the finale. According to reports from Deadline, a 6th season is in development and would be about Beth and Rip. It hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but the news has sparked lots of speculation among fans. If Beth and Rip are going to make it through to a new season, what will happen to Jamie? This potential spin-off seems like a way for Sheridan to tell us that Jamie won't be leaving Season 5 alive. If Beth and Rip are around in Season 6, there's no reason to think that Jamie's story will end well, after all. Even Wes Bentley himself has hinted that Jamie might not survive the series, and the tension between him and Beth is reaching an all-time high. Could this be the moment where Jamie meets his end? Let's be real, Wes Bentley's portrayal of Jamie Dutton has been nothing short of incredible. Over the last 2 seasons, Jamie has been put through the ringer. He's had to kill his biological father, Garrett Randall, to prove his loyalty to the Dutton family, and he's constantly been living under the threat of his sister's blackmail. Now, with him taking on his adoptive father and facing off against Beth, it's clear that Jamie is in a dangerous emotional state. Bentley has even opened up about how raw and vulnerable Jamie is heading into the final episodes of Season 5. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, the actor revealed that Jamie is angrier than he's ever been and is ready to make some major moves. He's the most raw he's ever been and the most vulnerable. He's the angriest he's ever been, Bentley shared. This intense emotion is setting the stage for a fiery conclusion to Jamie's arc. But will it be the end of the road for him? Bentley has hinted before that Jamie may not have what it takes to survive the chaos that's unfolding around him. In fact, he's been preparing for his character's potential death for a while now. During an interview with Deadline, Bentley explained that Jamie has always been aware of the dangers he faces, especially when it comes to his family. According to Bentley, Jamie has already endgamed himself and knows that he might not make it out alive. He's simply trying to make the most of the situation and capitalize on whatever opportunities come his way. Whatever happens, though, we know that the show will remain in good hands. So don't lose hope, because the Yellowstone universe isn't coming to its end anytime soon.